Hey everybody, I have something new that I'm so excited about. I have a grain mill from Nutrimill and we're going to unbox it together. I did take this out to read just a little bit because we're going to clean it by milling some white rice to kind of just get any production debris out, which is just what you do when you clean new pots and pans that you get in boxes and things like that. So it makes perfect sense. We're going to talk a little bit about why I'm excited to have it. We're also going to talk about some do's and don'ts. This is a stone grain mill, as you can see. And that means they're stones that are grinding things together, much like Bob's Red Mill has these giant stone things. And because of that, you can't really grind anything that has a lot of oil, so no nuts, seeds, things like that. We can't make nut butter with this, right? We're trying to make a dry product, so that's something to keep in mind. So this came in another bigger box, but it said, please recycle me. It was kind of nice. Other than that, I haven't really opened it up. If you look right here, these are the two millstones. There's an adjustable knob, and so that way you can make things as coarse or as fine as you like. I did notice they said when you're making flours out of dried beans, which I'm super excited about, you might want to start and make a coarse flour, then come back, put the flour through again, and make it fine. So we'll learn more about that as we go along. There, you obviously can make fresh flour on demand, and it's an on or off. It's made in the USA. There's a 5-year warranty. I actually also have I have a Bosch mixer, but there's a bigger Nutrimill that's white plastic if you're doing more heavy-duty baking than I am. And let's talk a little bit about this. So the features are eco-friendly bamboo. We've got grinds any non-oily grain, continuous grinding. You don't need a lot of counter space. You can take the hopper out. It has this cushion flex stone suspension, and it's a 450 watt motor with thermal protection. So what that means is it's got something that's going to help it know if it's starting to overheat and save the machine for that. But these are some of the things that you can mill: amaranth, spelt, mung beans, quinoa, rye, white beans, black rice, millet, red lentils, buckwheat, but there's a lot more. So basically, you can do oat groats. You can do all kinds of things that are dry. They're very specific about some corn and some other things. They have to be dry. So what I would say to you, if something doesn't seem quite dry enough, maybe you've put it up on your own, go ahead and toss in the dehydrator. It can't hurt, right? But I found the cheapest white rice that is in my pantry because it said to go through about 2 cups for this initial cleaning. So let's unbox it, clean it, and get going. Okay. I like this. It says, the world's greatest grain mill since 1974. So that tells you it's got some stuff behind it. I'm going to be unboxing this. Let's see what we see from the top. It's a really beautiful mill, this bamboo one. I did ask for this one specifically. I'm going to see if I can get this out on my own. I think I'm going to have to put it on the floor. It's pretty heavy. So I'm going to bend my knees for safety. Let me get all this extra stuffs out and get a hold of this. It's not as heavy once it's not packed in. And don't forget this guy. This is for cleaning the millstones. So you can kind of see we want to brush those out and keep them very clean. Isn't it pretty? I think it's just really, really lovely. Okay, I need some scissors to cut that. It's not a twisty tie. It's a stay on tight. Okay. this. So that's a decently long cord. Let's see what it says. To avoid damaging your millstones, mill grains in 10-minute increments. Mill for 10 minutes, rest for 10 minutes. To clean the stones, see page 5 of your owner's manual. I'm going to leave that on for a hot little minute. There's a button over here. Aha. There's messages inside of here. So when we lift this up, so how to mill. And these are the step-by-step directions that I love seeing when we don't know how to use an appliance already. Turn on your grain mill, pour whole grains into the hopper, adjust flour texture with the control knob. And I believe this is the control knob. Loosen stones. Ensure hopper is empty before turning off your mill. Large legumes may need to be chopped in blender before milling. And it tells you where to read some more. And again, it's got all these warnings. Do not mill any of the following: chia seeds, sesame seeds, flax seeds, sunflower seeds, popcorn, tapioca, coffee beans, hemp seeds, nuts, sugar, dates or raisins, poppy seeds, herbs and spices, goji berries, chilies, and sprouted grains. Now, it did say in the manual, if your sprouted grains are super dry, you're probably okay. So this is the manual, and so it also has some resources, a little QR code for you. It's got recipes, safeguards, keep children away from the mill at all times. I'm on board with that one. Avoid contact with moving parts. Yes, please. I'd like to keep my fingers and all of my parts. Keep the mill and power source away from stove or other heat sources. Like many manuals, this is just common sense stuff. The use of attachments not sold by or not recommended. Turn off mill before unplugging. Let's see, do not use outdoors. Pretty much all the same things. So we've got all this troubleshooting plus technical information. So this is the control knob. And this is the cushioned stone suspension. This obviously is the top that goes on so the grains don't just go everywhere. The motor, flour outlet. There's the switch right here. And it is some non-slip rubber feet. Okay, so how to clean. We're going to grind a 1/4 cup of white rice at a coarse setting. And let me make sure fine is to the right, coarse is to the left, or counterclockwise. And I see there's a little red thing there, so I'm assuming it doesn't really have a stop, so we'll just see what this looks like. We remove the hopper by pressing this button that's here. Aha. And you can see the stones. See that looks kind of like granite? That's actually the grinding stones. That's so cool. All right, now let's see if I can get this put back right. Yeah, and so it's just a button. It's this button under here that lets you take it off, because then later we're going to be using these things to clean out the stones some. Okay, I have it plugged in. Got this. All right. So like always, I'm learning right along with you. Okay. Place the mill on a hard, flat surface. Plug in the power cord. Place a bowl or container under the flour outlet. Turn on the mill. Always turn the mill on before adding grain. Okay. Turn the control knob clockwise until you hear the stones begin to rub. And then turn counterclockwise slightly so the rubbing stops. Okay, pour grain into hopper mill. It said to start with about 1/4 cup. So that's evidently I have it on very coarse. Because look how coarse this turned out. I'm going to close it for a second. It's interesting right now, me not understanding where some of this is, but this is very coarse. Let's get another bowl. Okay, so I don't think I really heard the things come together. Turn the knob, and this is the knob for sure. Turn it clockwise until I hear them begin to rub. There we go. I did not get to that point. Then take it off a little bit. Now let's pour like 1/4 cup. Yes. And I'm going to pour. Okay, I'm going to turn this off. So the thing that happened was I didn't get those close enough together. So listen until they really start rubbing. It made me nervous. It might not make you nervous. So the reason the first set of rice didn't really work was because it was on super, super, super coarse. So see if you look here. And it's still warm, you guys. It's still fairly coarse, so I think what we may do is try and make some more, but this time let's see about making it a little bit finer. Let's leave it that way. So I'm going to let it go and see if it kicks anything else out. One of the things it said too is make sure the hopper, or this part, so this part I am wrong. In the beginning I said it was so stuff wouldn't jump out. This is so nothing gets in there before you use it next. So that's a very, very different thing. So to adjust, we just do finer is clockwise, coarser is counterclockwise. So that is slightly finer than this one is. I don't know if it's enough for you guys to actually see. So this was the coarser one. And this is the finer one. There's a little bit less weight into it. And it's warm. It's so cool that it's just like warm, fresh milled flour. One of the things I'm very, very curious about is there's a mill that I'm able to eat their whole wheat bagels from. And it's because they mill and then they bake. So I'm going to do an experiment about that as well and see if it makes my joints swell up or not. However, you do not need to do that or even want to do that to try out a grain mill. All right, so let's see. Does it tell me exactly how to clean it? Or it's expecting me, okay, how to clean and use the brushes. Okay, so let's use these daggone brushes and let's see what happens. So first off, we can use the brushes just to wipe any of this dust, which is grease. And you want to remember, we can take a damp cloth, but we don't want anything wet in here. Okay, and so we can see over here, I'm going to be throwing away this flour because this is how we cleaned this mill. Normally that wouldn't be the case, so I wouldn't, but normally that wouldn't be the case. Okay, so in here, and we just want to keep it as free from debris as we can. And we also want to clean off over here. This part definitely has a lot. We can go in here. And I may, as I'm doing this, so you can get up in there, yeah, a lot came out that way. And so again, I'm going to leave this message to remind myself that not to mill more than 10 minutes at a time. So I went and I watched a quick YouTube video that they have cleaning this. And this comes out. Because I was like, this didn't make a lot of sense to me. So this is how we can really get in there and get all of this cleaned. Now, I'm a little disappointed that in the manual itself, it's not telling me that. Like, this is how to clean. I wish there were better pictures and a step-by-step. First use and cleaning. And it doesn't really, I'm just looking through to see if I missed a page. Maybe I did. But I did not. Maybe everybody else in the world besides me knows that you would do that. When I saw all of these bolts, right, I thought it was not removable. And they also, I noticed on, ooh, look, that gets a lot off. They say to never use a damp cloth on any of this. If stuff is stuck, they used one of those air canisters. So now let's get to work in here. Because I was like, that can't possibly be all we're doing. And I do notice here it looks like you could take this stone out. They did not take that out in the cleaning. And this would be something you would do every time that you mill something though. And honestly, it's not as bad as cleaning cleaning after making soy milk, right? So it's not that bad. And then this just goes in. There's some little holes around the side. And then this goes to where these holes are. And then when you turn it, the little button kind of does whoop. It does a little whoop. And there you go. So now I'm going to go ahead and they definitely did this in here. And I noticed that got a lot out. I'm going to clean this part up just with a cloth. And so you want to keep it very dry. You don't want anything gumming up in here. And next thing we'll do in here is I think we'll make some flowers. So there'll be some new videos. If you have some questions or you've been interested in the Nutrimill Harvest, which is the bamboo one, let me know and I'll see if I can find out the answers to your questions for you. and we'll just go through this learning process together. Sound good? Happy baking!